What if I told you every AI you've ever used, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, DeepSeek, they're all suffering from the exact same problem. A problem so massive that according to Huawei, it's wasting nearly 80% of the energy inside today's AI data centers. Not because the AI isn't smart enough, not because the chips are too slow, but because most of the time, the AI isn't actually thinking. Now, that sounds impossible. How can the world's most advanced artificial intelligence spend most of its time not doing artificial intelligence? To understand that, imagine hiring the smartest scientist on Earth, a genius capable of solving problems that nobody else can. Now imagine forcing that scientist to spend 8 hours a day, walking back and forth between different buildings, catching a single folder, back and forth, every day. Eventually, it doesn't matter how intelligent that scientist is, because intelligence isn't the problem anymore. Movement is. Huawei believes that's exactly what's happening inside today's AI data centers. Every time you ask ChatGPT a question, every time Gemini writes an email, every time an AI creates an image, or helps a doctor analyze medical scans, something invisible happens behind the scenes. Before the AI can answer, trillions of pieces of data have to travel between processors, memory, storage, and networking hardware. Imagine trying to run the world's fastest Formula One car in the middle of New York's rush hour traffic. The engine isn't weak, the driver isn't slow, the road is completely jammed. Huawei says modern AI has reached that exact moment. For years, the world's biggest technology companies have been obsessed with building faster processors. Every year, bigger GPUs, more memory, more computing power. But what if the processors have already become so fast that they spend more time waiting for information than actually processing it? If that's true, then the next breakthrough in artificial intelligence won't come from building a smarter AI model. It won't come from adding more GPUs, and it may not even come from NVIDIA. It could come from solving a problem that almost nobody outside the AI industry is talking about, the problem of moving information. And Huawei believes it has a solution so radical that it could completely change how future AI data centers are built. Some people are already calling it the next evolution of Huawei's Tau law philosophy. Not another chip, not another AI model, an entirely different way of thinking about artificial intelligence itself. And once you see what Huawei is proposing, you'll understand why this could become one of the biggest AI stories of the decade. Imagine this. Tomorrow morning, every major AI company on Earth wakes up and discovers they've built the world's fastest factories, but forgot to build the roads. Sounds ridiculous, right? But according to Huawei, that's exactly where artificial intelligence is heading. For years, the AI race has looked incredibly simple. Build a bigger GPU, train a bigger model, buy more servers, repeat. That's why companies have been spending billions of dollars on AI chips. NVIDIA, AMD, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, everyone believed one thing. If you wanted smarter AI, you simply needed more computing power. But here's the twist. Imagine a restaurant with the best chefs in the world. Every chef can cook 10 meals every minute. The kitchen is perfect, the equipment is world-class. But there's one problem. The ingredients arrive, one tomato at a time, one onion at a time, one piece of meat at a time. Suddenly, the chefs aren't cooking, they're waiting, not because they aren't talented, but because the supplies can't reach them fast enough. Huawei believes modern AI is facing the exact same problem. Today's GPUs are unbelievably powerful. In fact, they're becoming so powerful that moving information has started becoming harder than processing it. Think about that for a second. For years, everyone believed computing power was the biggest challenge. Now, data movement may be the real enemy. That's a completely different problem. And solving a different problem requires a completely different way of thinking. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you're watching a football match. The striker is the fastest player on the field, but nobody passes him the ball. Does his speed matter? Not at all. Now replace the striker with an AI processor. The football is data. Without a constant flow of information, even the world's most advanced processor is forced to wait. That's why simply buying more GPUs isn't enough anymore. It's like adding more sports cars to a city that's already stuck in traffic. You don't solve traffic by buying faster cars. You solve it by redesigning the roads. And that's exactly where Huawei believes the future of AI begins. Instead of asking, how do we build a faster processor? Huawei asked a completely different question. What if the processor was never the real problem? What if The entire data center needed to be redesigned from the ground up. Not just the chips, not just the memory, everything. And that's where Huawei unveiled something that immediately caught the attention of AI engineers. Not another GPU, not another AI model, an entirely new architecture. One designed to make information move almost as effortlessly as thought itself. Huawei calls the first piece of this vision the unified. And once you understand what it does, you'll realize why some engineers believe we're looking at one of the biggest changes in AI infrastructure in years. So, what exactly is Huawei's solution? To answer that, let's go back to our traffic analogy one last time. Imagine you live in a massive city. Millions of people, millions of cars, millions of deliveries every single day. Now imagine every hospital, every bank, every office, and every factory is connected by tiny two-lane roads. At first, everything works, but as the city grows, traffic gets worse. Deliveries arrive late. Businesses slow down, people waste hours simply trying to get from one place to another. Now, imagine somebody tears down that entire road network and replaces it with an ultra-high-speed transportation system, where information can move almost instantly. That's essentially the problem Huawei is trying to solve inside AI data centers. And the first piece of that puzzle is something called the unified bus. Now, don't let the name fool you. This isn't a bus like the one driving through your city. Think of it as a completely new highway system for information. Today, when different parts of an AI system need data, that information often has to travel through multiple steps before it finally reaches its destination. Every extra step adds delay, maybe only a tiny delay. But when an AI model is making trillions of calculations, those tiny delays become enormous. Huawei asked a simple question. What if all those unnecessary stops simply disappeared? According to Huawei's newly published AI architecture, its unified bus uses what's known as a memory semantic connection. That sounds incredibly technical, but here's what it really means. Imagine everyone inside a company sharing the exact same whiteboard. Instead of emailing files back and forth, instead of waiting for someone to upload a document, everyone can instantly see the latest information. Nobody wastes time asking, "Can you send me the newest version?" because they're already looking at it. That's the idea Huawei is pursuing. Instead of constantly moving information between different systems, make information available exactly where it's needed. The result? Huawei says communication delays could fall from tens of microseconds to around 100 nanoseconds. Now, those numbers are almost impossible to imagine, so let's make them real. A microsecond is already unbelievably fast, but shrinking that delay to around 100 nanoseconds is like replacing a short pause. With something so fast, your brain can barely comprehend it. Before you've even finished blinking, the information is already there, and that's only half of Huawei's plan, because moving information inside one server isn't enough. Modern AI doesn't run on one computer. It runs across thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of machines working together. Imagine an orchestra. One violin sounds beautiful, but an orchestra only works when every musician stays perfectly synchronized. If even one section falls behind, the entire performance suffers. AI data centers work the same way. Thousands of processors must constantly exchange information. If that communication slows down, everything slows down. That's why Huawei introduced the second piece of its architecture, the High-1 Optical Engine. Instead of relying entirely on traditional electrical connections, Huawei wants to use light itself to carry enormous amounts of information between AI systems. According to Huawei, each optical module can deliver up to 8 terabits per second across distances of up to 100 meters inside a data center. Think about that for a second. Not gigabits, terabits. Using beams of light. Imagine replacing thousands of delivery trucks with fleets of high-speed bullet trains running simultaneously, without traffic lights, without traffic jams, without constant delays. That's the future Huawei is trying to build. And if this architecture performs in real-world deployments the way Huawei describes, the impact could extend far beyond one company. Because every major AI company on Earth is fighting the exact same bottleneck. Huawei isn't claiming AI has reached its limit. It's making a different argument. The limit may not be intelligence. The limit may be how quickly intelligence can communicate. And that changes everything. At this point, you might be wondering, okay, Huawei has a new architecture, but why should I care? Because this isn't just about Huawei. This is about the future of every AI system you'll use over the next decade. Think about how quickly AI has become part of everyday life. Just a few years ago, most people had never even spoken to an AI. Today, students use it to study. Doctors use it to analyze medical images. Programmers use it to write code. Businesses use it to make decisions. Artists use it to create. And researchers are using AI to search for new medicines. Now imagine where we'll be 5 years from today. AI won't just answer questions. It'll power autonomous factories, coordinate millions of delivery robots, help control smart power grids, assist surgeons during complex operations, manage entire transportation networks, maybe even help design the next generation of AI itself. But here's the problem. Every one of those future systems will demand far more computing power than today's AI. And simply buying more GPUs is becoming one of the most expensive strategies in technology. Some of the world's largest AI companies are already spending billions of dollars building massive AI clusters. Not millions, billions. And even after spending that money, they still face the same invisible challenge: moving information quickly enough. That's why Huawei's proposal is attracting so much attention. Because instead of asking, how do we keep buying bigger processors? Huawei is asking, what if we build a smarter foundation instead? History has shown us something interesting. The biggest technological revolutions don't always happen because one component becomes faster. Sometimes they happen because the entire system gets redesigned. The internet didn't change the world because someone invented a slightly faster computer. It changed the world because computers became connected. Smartphones didn't replace old mobile phones because they had slightly faster processors. They replaced them because they completely changed what a phone could be. Cloud computing transformed businesses, not because servers suddenly became magical, but because the entire architecture changed. Huawei believes AI is approaching another one of those moments. Not another upgrade, a redesign. Now, does this mean Huawei has already solved AI's biggest challenge? No, and it's important to be honest about that. Right now, this is Huawei's published architecture and engineering vision. Some technologies will need to prove themselves in large-scale commercial deployments. Others will evolve over time. That's completely normal. Every major technological leap starts as an idea, then becomes a prototype, then real-world infrastructure. But whether Huawei's exact approach becomes the industry standard or not, one thing is becoming impossible to ignore. The AI race is changing. Yesterday, the biggest question was, who can build the fastest chip? Tomorrow, the question might be, who can move information the fastest? And if that happens, the companies leading tomorrow's AI revolution may not simply be the ones building smarter processors. They'll be the ones building smarter systems. And Huawei wants to be one of them. That's why what looks like a technical announcement today could end up becoming one of the most important AI stories of this decade. Because if Huawei is even partially right, the next breakthrough in artificial intelligence won't happen inside the AI model. It'll happen underneath it. So where does all of this leave us? For years, the AI race has looked like a competition between companies: NVIDIA, Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, Meta, Huawei. But maybe we've been looking at the wrong race. Maybe the real competition isn't about who builds the smartest AI. It's about who builds the smartest infrastructure. Because every AI breakthrough, every new robot, every self-driving car, every scientific discovery powered by artificial intelligence depends on something most people will never see: the data center. It's the invisible foundation behind the AI revolution. And foundations decide how high a building can grow. Imagine trying to build the world's tallest skyscraper on a weak foundation. No matter how beautiful the building looks, no matter how expensive the materials are, eventually, you'll hit a limit. Huawei believes today's AI infrastructure is approaching that limit. That's why it's trying to redesign the foundation instead of simply adding another floor. Will Huawei's vision become the future of AI? Today, nobody can honestly answer that question. Technology doesn't move because one company makes a bold announcement. It moves because ideas survive real-world testing. Engineers challenge them. Researchers improve them. Companies compete with them. And eventually, the best ideas win. That's how every technological revolution has happened. But here's what makes this story so fascinating. Huawei isn't just trying to build another AI product. It's questioning the assumptions the entire AI industry has been building on. And history has a funny way of rewarding companies that ask the questions nobody else is asking. think about where we started. Most people believed AI's biggest challenge was building a smarter model. Huawei is saying, maybe the smarter model already exists. Maybe what it really needs is a faster nervous system. If that's true, then today's AI race could be remembered very differently. Not as the race to build the biggest GPU, but as the race to redesign the invisible world underneath artificial intelligence. And if that happens, this announcement may one day be remembered as far more than another engineering paper. It could become one of the moments that changed the direction of AI itself. Only time will tell. But one thing is already certain. The future of artificial intelligence won't be decided by one breakthrough. It'll be built by thousands of breakthroughs, working together. And somewhere, right now, while the world is arguing about the next AI model, engineers are quietly building the technologies that those future AI models will depend on. Those stories rarely make the headlines, but years later, they become the reason the headlines exist. That's exactly why Byte Dynasty exists. Not to tell you yesterday's news, but to help you understand tomorrow before it becomes today's reality. If exploring breakthroughs like this fascinates you, join Byte Dynasty, because the future isn't announced, it's built. And together, we'll watch it unfold. I'll see you in the next breakthrough.